All right. If everything goes well, we should be live now. Good day, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Everything Outside Code. And today I have a wonderful guest with me, Richard. Richard, you want to say hello
Hi
before we
everyone.
continue?
Yeah, I'm Richard
Yeah.
Kovacs and I will be here, the partner for today.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Richard, for coming on. So Richard is going to be our guest. Richard works with AI. He's built a couple of AI apps, fantastic engineer. And today we're just going to tell wonderful stories and learn from, everything he's built in the last, couple of months and years. As usual, if you have any questions, you could just leave them in the comments. We're happy to take them throughout the stream. And if you're on YouTube somewhere, you could just hit the like button. I'm still not used to this, but it's somewhere below here. Uh, so others could find the stream. So we'll just get straight to it, Richard. Could you tell us a bit more about yourself, what you do, and yeah, how you got here to being co-founder of Read Sonic?
Okay, thank you. So I like to start with a funny story because I actually started this job like working in tech because of a series called Mr. Robot. I don't know if you are aware of it, but actually
Yeah.
that was released in 2015, if I remember correctly, and that was the year when I saw the first se- um, first season of it, and
Hmm.
this Mr. Robot series actually convinced me that okay, I definitely want to become a white hat hacker. That was my
Okay.
first first
Yeah.
impression. And next year I went to college and I finished a bachelor's. I have a bachelor's degree and also a master's degree, and I think I'm part of the few people who say that actually it was worth it. So the bachelor's was definitely worth it. I learned a lot. It opened my eyes. I saw a lot of tech that I did not know about previously, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. I had made some friends. After that, the master's degree was kind of, let's say, a waste of time. During that time, I already worked at the company and I learned
Yeah.
much more at that location. So I felt that I'm wasting my time here. But anyway, I finished my master's in time as well.
Yeah.
But since then, I am a self-taught and self-made developer for the last, let's say, um, 9 years. It was, as I mentioned, I started in 2015.
2015. Yeah.
Yeah, and I am working at a company called Scademy for the last 5 years, partly as an intern, and recently I became a full-time employee. And recently, actually, I was promoted to become a development team leader. So that's what takes up most of my day job.
That's nice. Congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you. That happened like 2 months ago. We are a small team here.
Hmm.
Actually, Scademy is a training company, so I am speaking in plenty of trainings regarding secure coding and artificial intelligence. That's what will connect me to become the founder of ReadSonic, because I learned a lot about artificial intelligence, how to use it,
Hmm.
how to build it into my apps. So the stuff that I learned there when teaching these courses to other people, I actually utilized it when building my apps.
Hmm. That's great, man. So read Sonic or all the other tools, because I see on Twitter there's like what three, four of them. Could you just walk us through them?
Okay, so I think I think I will start with a different application first. I have
Yeah.
plenty on my profile.
Hmm.
I started my journey on Twitter and in the building public community like roughly 2 years ago, or 1.5 year ago, and
Hmm.
I also wanted to grow my audience on different platform like LinkedIn, and now recently when Threads was became live, I also started posting there. And my first stop was actually a social media scheduler called StormScribe, which is pretty much my learning application. So that was the first app I've built in Next.js. I never cared about marketing. I am the only user, but actually it works, and I am using it to schedule my weekly content for multiple platforms.
Yeah.
So that was the first one. It has no AI in it, so I think that was my, let's say, entry-level application. And after that, I learned that without marketing, it won't work. So the next,
Okay.
yeah, the next applications will have some lessons in it. Well, after that, I went to build ReadSonic, but I'd like to explain the motivation behind building ReadSonic. So
Yeah.
I also have a blog at richardkovacs.dev/blog. I think I will write it in the chat for you. Could you open it up for the others?
Yeah. I think everyone could. I mean, I could just paste it in the main comments. If
Oh yeah, I see. Okay. I think it's
I think this, right?
Yeah, this should be it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a custom blog, so no blogging platform behind. And I have a reason for that. I heard from many people that when you have a blog, it's a good idea to own your content and not rely on an external party, because they can censor it, they can take it down, and so on. And for this reason, I decided to go with a template. It was a Next.js template, so it didn't take much time to start it. And I had a blog where I have the content, the posts in a repository. I write it in Markdown and publish it. And why is it relevant to ReadSonic? You might ask. Because I saw multiple platforms like Medium, Substack, Hashnode, and so on, plenty of these, and all of them have a feature where you can listen to the post in audio. So there is like a play button at the top, and you can press play and you can listen to the article. But me having a custom blog, it was impossible until I built ReadSonic. As a first step for myself, I experimented with plenty of solutions, and when I was building it, in the meantime, OpenAI actually released their text-to-speech API, and it was so good that I instantly had to switch over to that one. And that was actually the motivation and kind of like the tech behind ReadSonic. That's why I built it. So when you go to any of my blog posts, actually there is a button there, and it will read up the content of the post, and I don't have to do any kind of recording. So that's the power in it.
That's great, and it's interesting that this came from like a personal motivation, right? So you wanted to solve a problem and you saw there was an AI solution out there, and you just threw it in. So do you know if people use it? If people use it on your blog, are you able to track that?
I do not track it yet. I think there is low usage currently. I have some friends who are using it on their blogs as well, but I will have to build some tracking in it, whether they are pressing the button. Based on the usage, I think there are some people who listen to posts, but right now I don't have a blog or a website which has like thousands of visitors, because I think conversion would be much higher in their case.
Yeah. So speaking of ReadSonic, how do you market this currently?
Okay, so the first step, I started with the same mistake, no marketing, and of course nobody showed up. But partly the reason behind my Twitter community is it's no secret. I regularly share my journey there, also on LinkedIn, now on Threads as well. So writing about my apps helped a lot and drove some traffic. Also, I shared some longer posts on Reddit, which also drove some traffic. And right now, I am actually running a Google Ads campaign. and that drives the most traffic actually, which are a pretty low budget campaign actually, like a couple of dollars for the
Really?
for the last like 7 days, and people still register.
I'm curious, how did you figure out that you needed, Google Ads campaign and not maybe Facebook ads or Twitter ads, especially for like your product? That is you need a developer to use it, right? Like Read Sonic to put it in.
No, so there is an integration for Next.js. If you have, if you are a techie blogger, then it's a good fit for you. But also, I made a WordPress plugin, so anybody
Great.
who does not have coding knowledge could also install it as a plugin, and it would do the same on their WordPress blog. So why did I go with Google Ads? Actually, that was my first idea, and I found it to be the cheapest to start with, I would say. I checked out Twitter. It looked more expensive, but the next campaign will be on Facebook, that's for sure. So I've recently been working on creating multiple ad creatives and images that I could share because I promised myself that I will more heavily focus on marketing in the next part.
So you have a lot of learnings, from your previous experience with StormScribe, right? This was from the lack of marketing. So you moved to Read Sonic, and now you want to do marketing. And you just know you want to do marketing. At least you figure out you want to do ads. How do you know how exactly to roll out the ads? Are you doing this yourself, or are you working with maybe a contractor or an agency or freelancer to do this? If you're doing it alone, how did you go from zero to publish on the ads? How do you know what to do?
I am doing this alone, actually. I am experimenting a lot, and the first campaign was about blogs and people who have self-hosted blogs and custom blogs and all of these keywords, and it wasn't really successful. So I thought about my potential target audience a lot, and I found out that actually bloggers in itself, custom bloggers who have a self-made blog, they aren't really my best target audience. So I started to think about what I could do differently, and I had an idea to look for websites where accessibility is a must-have. And I found some blogs made for, especially for visually impaired people, and they did not have audio content on their pages. And I thought that, okay, the next step will be definitely that I have to write some cold emails to the runners of these websites, because they will definitely care about ReadSonic. Now, I still have to do this, but this motivated me to rewrite my marketing messages and even the entire landing page. And right now, it's more heavily focusing on accessibility and compliance. I will speak about that a little bit later, instead of focusing on speaking to people who have custom blogs. So right now, the main message is that make your website more accessible. And I think it converts better in at least in this minimal budget Google Ads campaign. So there are regular people signing up every day, like over 5 people sign up every day. They use it a little bit, but the next step will be to make the dashboard a bit better, because converting them to paid users is actually the next challenge. Right now, I think the landing page works pretty well.
Yeah, I like the idea of marketing shaping like earlier marketing artifacts. So, you try to run a marketing campaign, you figure out that, oh, okay, the messaging from this campaign has to, reflect in our landing page and even possibly the product, like what you eventually build. Because usually it's a one-way flow where people build like a product to build a marketing landing page. The landing page almost never gets updated. And they have marketing campaigns, and the campaigns are variable each time. They target different audiences, different use cases, but the original product never gets refined with marketing. right? So it's interesting to see how this, for you, it's sort of like the other way around, or at least there's sort of like a constant feedback loop with this ad works. Maybe we need to update like the landing page to fit. Was this something you stumbled on, or this is something you know already like preconceived?
So I heard from plenty of founders who said that you have to go marketing first, to do marketing first, and then see the user replies and user behavior. And I thought to give it a try. So that's why I started this direction. And actually, the Readsonic is my first app where I've built a new feature based on user responses. So I checked the keywords, what they looked for, how they found the website, and the keywords weren't actually about accessibility, even though that's the main message in my ads. They were about 11 labs, which I would say is the state-of-the-art text-to-speech solution, and
Yeah.
audio content and text-to-speech and TTS, short for text-to-speech, and all of
Yeah.
these keywords were there. And I figured that people who register on the website actually look for a text-to-speech application, and they don't really get that it's an automatic plugin for their blogs. So recently I implemented this feature, and people started to go there to the convert page where they can convert their messages in real time to audio. So I think that was a great lesson to listen to users and see how they go over the website. I have some tracking installed where I see where they click, like a heat map, and that showed that there is a need for this feature. So this was the first app where I built a feature based on user behavior, and I pretty much recommend it to everyone else who thinks or thinks about what should be built into the app.
Yeah. So this is interesting because I think for the first time I'm getting a different perspective on building for users, right? The typical developer indie hacker would be like, hey, talk to your users, right? But first you need to identify them to even be able to talk to them. But in your case, it feels like you took a data-driven approach to building what users want. So you looked at like the heat maps and analytics, and then you also looked at keywords. What are people searching for? Right? And a combination of these informed what you were going to build.
Yep, that's right. Exactly, that's what I'm doing. It costs some money, but as I said, it's like under $20 per week. So it's so low budget that it is actually much more affordable than not doing this and spending like weeks on building something that people won't use.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's a lesson for anyone else, listening to this and wants to build for users, but probably doesn't have users, at least identifiable users that they could talk to. What would you say is your biggest challenge with ads, right? And rolling this out? Is it from like designing the graphics, research? What's the biggest thing you spend the most time on too?
That's a great question. I think the recent creatives were pretty good. Probably the channel. Like, I'm not sure that Google Ads is the right channel to use. Maybe it would be LinkedIn. I don't know. LinkedIn is crazy expensive in terms of advertising.
Yeah, super
But
expensive.
yeah, I know. But maybe my target audience is there, so the conversion would be much higher there. I might give it a try. I'm not decided yet, but the next one will definitely be Facebook ads, because like the granularity that you can target users there is absolutely crazy.
On Facebook?
Yeah, on Facebook you
Oh,
have
I haven't tried.
you have dozens of settings and ways to target the specific user base. I mean, they have like over 3 billion registered users, and all of the data about them. We know how Zuckerberg
Yeah,
got rich.
watches us.
So yeah, so they have the data, and I think the best way to understand how much you are tracked is to try advertising on Facebook, and you will be convinced.
You'll be convinced of what data you have access to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I found a feature there called lookalike audience. That was my first meet with the term lookalike audience, and I was curious what this means. And Facebook has a feature that when you gather some people in a group, then you can simply set an advertisement to be targeted for users that look like the same audience without you setting anything. And I thought that it's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, this lookalike audience is absolutely crazy. I will definitely try that in the next campaign.
Yeah. I think Facebook definitely, or at least maybe I'm just projecting, is an underexplored like advertising channel, right? Especially for indie hackers and developers, because we're used to hanging out on Twitter, and we know if you're looking for like higher deal sizes, you need to go for LinkedIn. But I only recently started seeing people talk about, Facebook ads. So definitely should be something to consider. If everyone has some account, 3 billion people, that's like half the planet almost.
So I don't know the exact number, but I think Facebook is still close to being the largest social media, probably
Yeah,
the
they are.
largest.
Yeah.
Why not utilize it? People don't go there, at least in my circle, because they are younger, and usually the user base of Facebook is a bit older, like
Yeah.
Generation X, and starting from the end of the millennials and up there. But still,
Yeah.
it's 3 billion almost active people. I think 1 billion is actively using it every single day.
Yeah.
So, and there are plenty of groups there. If I speak about ReadSonic, there are plenty of groups made for bloggers, and I can target those specific people, like hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of bloggers in a single group, because the settings enable me to target them. So I
Yeah.
think not advertising on Facebook is not the right idea.
Yeah, you're right. And also I noticed that different regions and different countries have preferred, social networks. When I lived in Dubai, it was Snapchat. Everyone had like Snapchat. That was the main social network there.
Yep.
And then I moved to Norway and I see everyone has Facebook. At the beginning, not many people used WhatsApp, right? For instant messaging, they used Facebook Messenger. And I was like, who still uses Facebook? But everyone has Facebook. People send like, event invitations, yeah, on Facebook. And I was surprised. So I started to imagine what else is out there, maybe in Latin America with millions of people, hundreds of millions of people, maybe they use Facebook. So yeah, I definitely something someone should, entrepreneur should pay attention to, at least that channel. So aside ads, what other things have you tried with marketing with Sonic or any of the other products?
Okay, so one way is to write about them. I think that's free. Of course, it costs you time instead of money. By the way, I'd like to share a website about that one that I made to
Okay.
calculate the time that you are spending on building something. If you could just share this cost of time that I just shared with you in the private chat.
Yeah.
With the others. I've made this small tool first for myself because I was thinking about the missed opportunities that I am actually missing by building something and not doing marketing. And I've built this small tool. It's also an experiment, but here actually it's pretty simple. Thanks for sharing it with the visitors. You can
Yeah.
simply insert the number of hours and the number of days you are working on a product, then an estimate of how much your time is worth, and then you will see that how large of a budget you are spending indirectly on your application. So let's say,
Let me see. If I invest 8 hours of work on let me say I work nonstop for 1 month, 30
yep,
days, and the value of my time, I would say $120 an hour. Wow.
yeah. So that's a lot, I would say. And
Yeah.
my idea was that, okay, if I'm spending so much money on building something, or so much time on building something, and I would like to convert it to in some way to money, then it would be a good way, this would be a good way to visualize it. And how about spending only the tenth of it on marketing? And actually this visualization convinced me to start doing paid ads. And
Oh,
I think
really?
it was an eye opener. So I was like, okay, no way I am missing so much income. So how about spending only the tenth of it in a campaign? And I am still much below this number with my campaigns, and I already see plenty of results. So I think paid marketing saves time. That's my 2 cents. But
Yeah.
back to your question, I write about these tools on my blog, and I also share on some other socials the journey where I am, like on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Threads, and on Reddit. And I had pretty much success on Reddit, actually. People are afraid of
Mm.
posting on Reddit because you can get banned pretty easily. I think I have a pretty well working strategy on posting to Reddit. And the strategy is to write extremely long posts with plenty of content. That's what worked for me. So there is a
On
post
Reddit.
on Reddit. Yep, on Reddit. So people write a post, and I go to the comments, and if I have something relevant to say, usually a short version of one of my blog posts, and I share it in the comments and put a link at the bottom to my blog post, and it will drive like hundreds of users in a single day to my
Wow.
post. And I also did the same with my applications, and I was never banned. Once a person mentioned that maybe it was an automated response. It wasn't, by the way, and I should be banned, and but I wasn't. So I
Yeah.
told him that, sorry, these were my experiences. I wanted to share. No problem. I am not a bot, and it was that. That was the only time someone wanted to ban me. But I shared plenty of posts. I even wrote new posts, not only comments. All of them worked pretty
Mhm.
well, and they drove regular traffic to my websites or blog posts, whichever I
Yeah.
shared there. So I think
Yeah.
Reddit works, but you have to be careful. So if you are overly promotional, you will definitely get yourself banned.
Hmm. This is golden because even personally, I know there is an opportunity from this it's valuable to post on Reddit, but the question is how. Because I tried once and you could just see the environment is quickly hostile,
Yep,
right?
that's
It's
right.
quickly it's quickly like zero, do not promote anything. Um you, I've tried to go the route of, okay, I think this is helpful, but also on Reddit, I think people smell bullshit quickly than even on Twitter. They already know like you're trying to sell something. So it's really interesting to hear your perspective of what works on Reddit. So if I get you correctly, you say you share a post, say a short form of a blog post you wrote, you share it in a comment. Do you write it as like a main post in a subreddit, or how exactly do you do that?
Okay, great question. I think I shared only one main post. That was one of my blog posts. I think one of my best posts, by the way. I am writing about how to build future-proof AI applications, because plenty of
Mhm.
people mention that building a ChatGPT wrapper is not the way to go. They release a new model, they update the ChatGPT UI, and your application is dead. And my blog post was about how to build a future-proof AI application. And
Yeah.
recently, if you remember, Apple released their AI, or Apple Intelligence, that's what they called, all of their AI features in the developer conference. And I
Hmm.
think the timing was perfect. I reshared my post saying that, okay, Apple actually, yeah, this is the post. Apple actually killed thousands of startups. What can you do? And I posted a distilled version of this blog post on, maybe I don't remember the exact subreddit where I shared it, But I just wrote actually the short version of this blog post there, like 5 paragraphs long. And I mentioned at the end that here is the longer version if you are interested. And it became the second most popular post in the week, maybe, or something like that. And
Yeah.
people didn't complain at all that I shared my own post there. Other than that, I usually write long comments, but with the same logic as this one, and it works pretty well. I never got banned.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think the key thing I noticed here is that this post is, first of all, it's original. It's your opinion, right? I see a lot of like your opinion and a lot of a style of writing. It's not just it's got like different modes to the sentences, for instance, right? So I see it reads like you. Maybe I'm mistaken. And this was written completely by you, right?
Yep. I mean, I am
Yeah.
using lots of AI tools in writing, but the posts are mine, totally mine. The words are mine.
Yeah.
I grammar check them, for example, but still the
Mhm.
ideas are mine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So I guess what I see here is, you write something meaningful, something that's useful, and it's not just generic, right? You're talking about building future-proof AI applications, and I'm sure this is something people care about because OpenAI is kills people's startups every other month once they release a new feature. So this is definitely something people care about, and a platform like Reddit would definitely care about this. So yeah, this is great. This is really insightful. I think I'm going to try this because I write a lot of similar blog posts that are from opinion, like highly opinionated content. They are not great for SEO, which is sort of like a bummer because they don't tick all the SEO boxes. They don't go after like keywords and stuff keywords everywhere. The length is probably 1,200 words, not 2,500 words. So it's not ranking for like certain keywords. Um, and at the same time, it's like really thoughtful, like a really thoughtful piece. You need to share it somewhere others will find it. So definitely taking that opinion of the idea of Reddit, posting it there as a comment would that's definitely nice. And did you pick the subreddits? What are some of the top subreddits you contribute to?
That's a great question. I think I will help myself a little bit and open up here Reddit in the background. So one is SaaS, of course, software as a service.
Mm-hmm.
That I think I shared the post there actually. The other one is Indiehackers. Then there is one called Entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Bootstrapped says Product Hunters and Next.js. I think these are the ones where I'm active. It takes lots of time, so speaking about the cost of time, it's also not free, but in a different manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
But
I will try
if
to
if
find my.
sharing, if sharing a post or a comment gets you 100 visits, even side visits to your product, I think that's really good. Thinking of the value against the effort for a new product, I think that's good ROI. That's good ROI there.
Yeah, totally. And
Yeah.
my other blog posts are pretty much the same. So I usually write about my experiences, how I built something, how I found out, how I solved a certain problem where I never found any solution for that one on the web, and they perform pretty well. My
Mm-hmm.
blogs reach and click count or organic click count grows every single day, even though there was this called helpful content update in Google, which I think actually favored my kind of content, where I don't exactly focus on keyword stuffing and repeating the
Mm-hmm.
same words. It's a genuine story and experience from me, and they start to rank higher and higher.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, how that works, I still do not know. I wish I knew how Google like calculated those things because we've all got keywords we want to rank for business wise, right? You want people to search for AI like blog audio and they
Yep.
find you. You want them to find you. But I don't know if they will find you from, if you write the content around, future proof AI applications without putting all the AI audio keywords in there. So that's sort of like the balance that's been really pretty difficult to strike with content marketing, at least. Yeah.
Absolutely. I also have. I just looked at my side notes that I wanted to mention. One very interesting stat that I have about the Google Ad campaign. I'm going back to
Hmm.
ReadSonic. I offer two kinds of logins: Google login and an email and password combination. And
Hmm.
I prefer the password and email combination, but users do not agree with me because exactly 75% prefers the Google one. And that's also a thing to consider if you are building a login page. Many people, over 3/4 of the people, prefer the Google or any social login. I usually go with Google
Yeah.
and email plus password combination, and
Hmm.
Google wins by a lot, which is I think a thing to consider when building an
Yeah.
application.
Yeah. That's definitely something to consider. Thanks, because it's one thing to acquire visits, site visits. It's another thing to acquire users that actually create an account and you activate them, right? So you could run an ad that leads to, your website, people check it out, but they actually do not sign up because the onboarding process isn't one click like you would get with Google. So that definitely is something there. Something I'm very curious about is I want to take us back to StormScribe where you said you had a lot of lessons. What was the
Okay.
biggest one, right? So which did you come out of and be like, oh, I'm definitely not doing this again if I was to build something else?
Um, One of them is definitely to avoid building something that's built on top of multiple APIs. That's a lot of struggle. I think the the problem that StormScribe solves contains the hardest stuff on earth, like scheduling content, calling like cron jobs, calling something in advance or in the future, but scheduling it today, calling plenty of APIs simultaneously, like Twitter, LinkedIn, Threads, then Mastodon, Blue Sky, and so on. These are extremely hard to manage. Not to speak about authentication, but that's usually in any kind of application. But one of my greatest lessons is to start with a simpler idea that's built on, let's say, maximum one API, because balancing all of these, some of them is deprecated, you have to upgrade it to a new version. um, the cloud provider that you are using is also deprecating something, you have to update it.
Yeah.
All of these dependencies, it's crazy. That was one of my lessons as a coder. And another one, as a marketing guy, recently turned marketing guy, is to start doing marketing earlier, much earlier, even before the application is ready. I think
Yeah.
these are the two largest lessons there.
Yeah. When you mentioned that, the first application you thought to build was a social media scheduling app, in my brain, you went, wow, I don't know where you learned to code, but that's some guts there to want to go after date and time, because date and time problems, I think those are the most difficult, at least I have encountered personally, dealing with like time zones to localizing things and then managing or normalizing this with server times, and
Yep.
it's just crazy. And you chose to deal with that, and then all the different APIs that you needed to send data to at set times, that's definitely tough.
Yeah,
So
I think I started with with the hardest problem I could find, so wasn't the
yeah.
best idea.
Yeah, but I guess you come out with a lot of lessons. You come out with a lot of lessons from there. And when you say if you were going to change something, you would start with one API. Do you mean one external API in this case?
If yes, so if I if I want to depend on an API, for example, the next application I plan to build is also a kind of OpenAI wrapper, but that will be the only API that I rely on. Maybe some other providers, but that's an extra. So
Yeah.
potentially no API. It's great. Like the cost of time calculator is a front end only application. Absolutely no backend, no authentication. It cannot break. Only if for example, Versal is down. Of course, it's not available. But other than that, it has no external dependencies. It has 100% uptime. So when you can solve a problem without an external API, go for that one. And other than that, if you want to call some APIs or build on a different on top of a different application, like a UI, then go for a single API and manage only that one. It will be enough to manage only that one.
Yeah. That's very insightful. Thanks. Hey Mike, welcome to the stream. Mike saying hi to
Yep,
us both
I just saw it.
from from YouTube and Twitter. Yeah, those are very insightful things, because I guess when founders have ideas, we want to try different things. We want to build as much as we can, but that's shifting, right? It's shifting to everyone saying we need to do marketing first, and from our conversation, it seems like it's pretty clear what marketing first truly means. The part that I think I would like a bit more clarification is marketing first, even before you have a product, right? Do you have any experience with that? What does that sort of look like? Because I'm sure there are a lot of founders building currently, and they hear that and they're like, oh, so where do I start from? What's the first thing I do? Because I don't even have the product ready.
Yeah, so the first thing I would do, or let's say the first thing I did with my next upcoming application, is to build let's say a script, 100 lines long script. And if I have a script and I know that like I can call it from the command line, I've built it like 20 minutes and it proves my idea, then I know that I will be able to build it if people care about it. So I would say a minimum proof of concept is required, an absolute minimum, which proves that your idea is feasible and possible. But after that, my next step will be to build a landing page, promote it on multiple platforms, and see whether any people sign up before the dashboard and the application is ready. So I would start with an extremely simple proof of concept, like 30 minutes long, and that's it. No days of building. That's too much already. Start with a proof of concept, and then build a landing page with whatever tool you prefer. It can be no code, it can be code, whichever is faster, and start promoting it aggressively for a week and see what users say about it. And if users care about it, you are free to build it. Other than that, go to the next idea. That's what I started to do after the ReadSonic was ready. So the next application will definitely be a totally marketing first one. I think you are muted.
Yeah, I'm muted. I was going to ask, what's an indicator of if a user wants it? Do they have to pay for it, or is this a sign up, or is this them joining a wait list? What does that look like?
I will go with, I will try and experiment with a paid waitlist on the next app. So that's one way. But I think a waitlist works. So if you have people who register even before the application is ready, that definitely shows interest. And if you have someone to pay for it in advance, that's, I think there's no more validation needed that the idea is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. I think I saw somewhere that said if you have an idea and you go ahead and build it, then you're almost destined to fail. If you have an idea and you are the only user, then you get it some ways. If you have an idea that someone has used, then you're about 50%, there. If you have an
Yep.
idea that someone has paid for, then you're definitely there. And that's something you should keep building. Mike asked a question. do you do any validation of the concept before you start writing code, or do you just launch it and see if people want it after the fact? I think that kind of alludes to what you just said. Maybe do you want to like repeat that?
No, I think I will actually add to that some thoughts. I'm not just building it. I went to Google Trends first and searched for some keywords. Then I also went to the keyword planner in Google Ads, and I checked how the particular keywords rank. And I saw that, for example, compared to ReadSonic, the next one, which will be about synthetic data sets, by the way, it has a much higher interest than about audio blogging and listening to content. So the first thing to do is to check whether there is traffic on Google for the particular keywords that you think is relevant. Then check whether you can target some not so popular keywords for a pretty low amount of money. And I did this, and I think this was enough for me, because I saw that there are thousands of searches for my keywords. I've built the proof of concept, like 100 lines of code, and right now I am in the middle of building a landing page, and after that I will promote it with the keywords. So no, I didn't jump right into the idea.
That's great. Thank you very much, man. And yeah, Mike said awesome. Thanks. So I guess that answers Mike's question. Anyways, this has been I would say, the most helpful stream we've had in a while. It's packed with a lot of like nuggets and tips. So thank you so much, Richard.
Thanks, man.
This has been wonderful. For anyone that wants to check out ReadSonic, I guess this is it, right? Did I get the URL?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so please go check out ReadSonic if you want to turn your blog posts into audio, you want to add accessibility features to it. And also just because, it's easier to consume audio content these days than written content, you could do that simultaneously with something else. Go check it out. Do you have any last words, Richard, before we call it a wonderful day?
Yeah, maybe if you have any question about ReadSonic, feel free to reach out to me. I am active on plenty of socials, and I'm happy to help. So I would say that's the last words here.
Yeah, that's I just want to throw up your Twitter as well here. So I'd say Richard is also very active on Twitter, X. Yeah, it's X these days. Also active on X, so you could just find him. He's willing to answer any questions as you've just heard. Just say you're from William. I'm sure he'll prioritize your question.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Richard, and thank you everyone that's hung out with us. Thank you, Mike, and everyone else that's listening. And yeah, it's another episode of Everything Outside Code. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.